Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to opening night here at the rinks on Long Island, New York. With Mike Kolandrick here, Trevor Magnani right beside me. A new season is upon us for Stony Brook Seawolves hockey. Just as they did back in 2023, they will open up the year against the Oswego State's Lakers. However, under a new divisional umbrella.
Absolutely, it's the first year of the ACHA, and we're absolutely excited here to be working with the Seawolves here to make sure that we're sorry about that. Apologies about that, folks. Michael Andrew couldn't hear me, so I was talking about absolutely nobody except for the fine folks at home. New year here with the Seawolves in the ACHL, brand new division, brand new teams, and a brand new structure. We'll walk you through that throughout the game here tonight here, but we have a lot of new players here on the ice. Let's walk through some of the new faces here for the Seawolves this evening.
Absolutely, and might as well start with a new face, but with a familiar last name, number 96, right there, Anastasio, the second of the bunch to have donned the Seawolves sweater, as his brother Frankie went and played his tenure. Now it's Matthew's turn, and there he is wearing number 96. And you have to wonder at some point, sometime, his younger brother Joey is going to join in the fold later on. We'll just have to wait and see. But for now, let's touch down on Matt Anastasio, what he brings to the table. 5'11", 190. SUNY Brockport had a lot of great things in his arsenal that he will bring to the table as a member of the Seawolves, alongside some other big weapons that I'll name in a few.
Yeah, coming in from SUNY Brockport, one of the big acquisitions here for the Seawolves to start this campaign off. So we'll have a lot of high hopes for him this season.
And another key acquisition from another SUNY school is by the name of Robert Hyde, wearing number 88. And you have to wonder if he's going to be channeling in his inner Showtime Patty Kane with that number under his belt. He comes in to the Seawolves fold with 2 goals, 4 assists during his time at SUNY Cortland, and we can only imagine that number is going to grow out incredibly the more and more he gets familiar with his line mates going forward.
Yeah, I'll save us all from the hide and seek pun that I was about to drop here tonight, but again, another Seawolves player here coming from a SUNY school, looking to make a big impact here at the start of the season.
Obviously, there are more names that come into the mix. One thing you have to look out for tonight that I was informed about during our practice meeting on Wednesday morning was this freshman line that is going to be making plenty of noise for the rest of this season, and it begins with some of these big names. Peter Labos, a name that you might be familiar with, former PAL Junior Islander NCDC product, coming into the mix alongside Lorenzo Mara. He brings some of that New York flair to the table.
Absolutely.
And it only helps when you have now veteran members of the team guiding them along the way for what's to come going forward.
Yeah, speaking of Peter Labos and the coming from the NCDC, the National Collegiate Development Conference, the top flight of the USPHL, he's one of 9 on the roster this year from that league. So it's good to see good USPHL representation here on the Seawolves roster.
Absolutely. And let's not just narrow down of the players that are in the States. We also have a member out of the States by the name of Charles Poirier. That's right, imported all the way from Montreal, Quebec. You have to wonder if he is going to bring some dramatics to the lineup as he makes his freshman year campaign playing for head coach Chris Garofalo.
Yeah, one name on the roster that was definitely a bit of a surprise to get such a get from up in Canada. So excited to see what he can bring to the Seawolves this season.
Now we turn our attention to some of these veteran players that are now taking on bigger roles. One of them, importantly, by the name of William Cormanic, who was recently just named the team's newest captain. Just 1 year after Andrew Mancini, who's to the right of me watching from above, was the captain for the Seawolves during his final year with the program. And Cormatic, as we have alluded to in the past, has dealt with a long, challenging journey, overcoming some major injuries, underwent shoulder surgery before last year's campaign, and well, it definitely impacted him in a positive way because he was absolutely electric, leading the team in goals and points. 16 accounted for, 3 of them on the power play, including 1 game winner.
Have you had a chance to talk with him at all?
I did.
What did he have to say about the start of the season?
Obviously, last year it was a glimpse of what was to come. It was not the way they wanted the season to end, but with these new players coming into the mix, he's optimistic and is just very much ready to handle the role of leading this team back to what he calls the promised land, is where Stony Brook happened to be a couple seasons back divisional champions.
Absolutely. Talk about eras here for the Seawolves, that era of dominance where they were basically more or less guaranteed ESCHL champions. And to this little bit of a funk, I would call it. The last few seasons, not really being able to top the tables. A lot of stiff competition from within the division. Had a conversation with Garrow last season to start, kind of discussing where this program has gone and how the ACHA in general has developed. And it's not that the Seawolves were getting worse. The competition around them has gotten so much better, and we expect to see a lot of that still this season. A lot of exciting matchups coming down the pipe here. There's even going to be a matchup with Farmingdale State coming up here that we're going to be doing a co-production with LISN to bring you guys some really fun action. But tonight, the Seawolves have quite a test in front of them here in front of Oswego State.
But fortunately for the boys, they have a positive track record under their belts going into this matchup with a record of, let me just double correct, 3-1. One of them being an overtime victory against the Lakers last season, courtesy of Colin Wenrick. That goal happened to be his first of his career, and the former Boston Junior Bruin is back in action, ready to strike in his second year, donning the Seawolves emblem. Another thing to make note of, you have to wonder, even though it's opening night, and I feel like this is a trend that's been going on even elsewhere. Preseason hockey, you would think it's the time to kind of just get your legs fresh and just, you know, get things warmed up and stuff. But it's been the total opposite. You look at the NHL, for example. There are literally fights upon fights, just all this bad blood embroiled. And you have to wonder, based on how these two teams, the last time these two teams battled, you have to wonder if there's going to be any carryover. As it's worth noting, the two teams combined for over 116 penalty minutes in last year's nasty affair, in which the Seawolves took that game 40-0.
Absolutely expect the sparks to fly today, but also, too, one thing to keep in mind, we're in game 1 and we've got national ranking implications off the get-go. Preseason rankings came out. Obviously, UNLV, national champions. They're going to take the top seed here. But Stony Brook comes in at number 24. Guess who's above them at number 16? That's right. That's Oswego State.
So this is going to be a matchup for the ages, one could say.
Absolutely. I mean, other divisional opponents for the Seawolves are above them, too. University of Pittsburgh sitting above them as well, up at number 20. Obviously, starting in the top 25 is a great place to start for the season, but the Seawolves have pretty good aspirations this season to get up there and be competing in the national tournament.
Not to mention the motivation behind this new I guess you can say a divisional realignment of some sorts, a new name. There's the motivation there to want to be the first champion of that and eventually take that momentum and bring it on to the national tournaments.
Absolutely. Again, with your qualified leagues, you get that auto bid to nationals by winning the league. So it's super important to win those divisional matchups because those are going to be your easy games of the season.
Unfortunately, the Seawolves, they fell at the hands of one of their divisional rivals in the semifinals of last year's divisional tournament, where their season came to an end. But luckily, tonight is a new beginning for Stony Brook as they'll try to take down Oswego to get started off the right foot.
Absolutely. Looks like we've got Wolfie in the stands here to celebrate the kickoff of the season. Good to see some great fan engagement here to get the season started here. Again, you come down to the rinks in Hauppauge and come see a Seawolves game. Probably some of the most cost-effective, dollar-for-dollar entertainment you can get here on the island. $15 gets you in the door for an adult ticket. I believe we got the children's tickets too. I think they're $5?
I believe so, if my math is correct.
Don't quote me on it, but check the Seawolves website for ticket information at StonyBrookHockey.com for all the updated season ticket information, along with promos and other information about game day.
And there's a lot of benefits that come with that price of admission. You get to watch these great players on display, one of them being by the name of Steven Reginato. That's right, he's taking over the reins in goal as the main starter seemingly for the Seawolves, unfortunately because of their backup going down with a major injury, taking him out for the season. That's right, Garrett Simpson, who most notably picked up a shutout victory for his first career win against Oswego last year. He is out for the year, undergoing surgery for a major injury, so we hope for the best for him. But this gives
a fast recovery, because that's it's never fun.
Absolutely, but this gives a chance for not only Keith Goldsmith to get some more time in net, but also some of the new fresh faces by the name of Michael Foglia from Grand Island, New York. The 5'10", 185 freshman is coming to play and looking to make an impact at some points during the season. And I know that Chris Garofalo, the way he described it when it comes to deciding on who gets in goal, it's based on performance. Whoever is performing, whoever's really performing, whoever's being consistent, they're gonna get the nods.
Well, tonight Reginato gets the nod, so for the Seawolves, that's going to be very important to keep him protected here from what's going to be a physical game here tonight.
Oh, it certainly will be. Also another player out there, Justin Nakagawa. Already, hard to believe, he's in his third year as a member of the Stony Brook Seawolves, coming off another illustrious campaign wearing the Stony Brook jersey. Last year led the team in assists with 21 in 31 games played. Potentially there could be more from him for many games to come, and also he picked up his first career hat trick, and it happened to be against Oswego last season. So you have to wonder if that is going to be a continuing trend going forward for Nakagawa, especially against a team like this.
And we'll see if lightning strikes twice here for Nakagawa. We're going to get wrapped up here for the Seawolves warm-up here. When we come back in about 15 minutes time here, it's national anthem and then puck drop here for the Seawolves against Oswego State here at the rinks in Hauppauge. You're watching Stony Brook Hockey here on Long Island Sports Network.
And we welcome you back to our broadcast. Just about 35 seconds away from the Seawolves and the Lakers entering the ice. Stony Brook getting ready, getting set as the lights will dim down. And we'll see the extravagant pregame festivities on display as always as we begin a new year here at the rinks. And Wolfie is trying to get the crowd fired up here. We also got someone ready to ring the air raid siren. As you know, the Seawolves are ready to get down to business. Lakers make their way onto the ice, and now we await the Stony Brook Seawolves.
Lights come down here at the rinks.
Is it just me, or does this goal horn sound significantly different than the one we had last year?
Sounds a little bit different for sure, but you know, they say sometimes you got to make some changes.
That's true. It's either that or the goal horn went through a lot of work in the offseason. Those things get a lot of use out of them to a point where the tone of the thing changes along the way.
Also depends on how hard you crank it too.
Well, we're going to crank it up a notch here as the two teams will be introduced by Leon Bassett starting in a few seconds as the men in stripes gather at the red line. And in a few moments, we'll meet the starting lineup. And here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, his team starts on in between the Oswego State Lakers and the Stony Brook Seawolves. The starters for Oswego State. Number 8, Griffin Saba. Number 9, Adam Gerber. Number 19, Jeremy Keys. Number 20, James Clifford. Number 27, Andrew Worst. And in goal, number 30, Benjamin DiFiore. And here's the starters for your Stony Brook Seawolves! On defense, number 14, Teddy Day. His defensive partner, number 2, Joey Jazira. The left winger, number 15, Cooper Smith. The center, number 19, Hudson Napoli. The right winger, number 48, Nate McGrath. And in goal, number 29, Steven Renato. At this time, we ask everyone to rise for the playing of our national anthem.
So with that, the pregame festivities have concluded. And now, as always here at the rinks, it's time to play the game.
As always, indeed.
But before we drop the puck, let's meet tonight's starters. And that for the Oswego State Lakers, Benjamin D. Fiore. Right there, you see the bench gathering around for one last strategy being instilled into the heads of these great players that are visiting the island here tonight. Ben D. Fiore in goal. Opposite of him, Steven Reganato, taking over the role that Scott Barnico had last year and getting the majority of the starts. The man that is going to be viewed as the sole owner of the goal mouth for a majority of starts this year, one could say. Steven Reganato is prepared. Ben D. Fiore is prepared. We're all set up here. And the events will kick off with the faceoff draw between Hudson DiNapoli and James Clifford, Long Island native, playing at the college level here tonight. DiNapoli with a sauce immediately heading into the bench to stop play.
Heads up there in the bench. As we'll just face it off just outside the Oswego zone. Just kidding. We're going to bring it all the way back to the Seawolves side of the neutral zone here.
Not even 30 seconds in, and Oswego's bench already has their work cut out for them, or at least the head coaches in this case. Got to duck down from that.
That bench has been bad luck as of late. A lot of pucks flying in there. I was watching a PAL junior hockey game there. The head coach, Alexi, was having to dodge pucks left and right.
You know what they say, if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge anything. Something like that. Clifford entering the zone, but offsides called. As I mentioned before, James Clifford, a Long Island native, got the chance to call a few of his games when he was a member of the Ward Melville Patriots of the Suffolk County High School Hockey League, playing on this very same ice in which Clifford was quite the man on a mission anytime he had the puck on his stick, as Cormatic gets his first licks of the night wearing the new C on his sweater. Back the other way, Braden Palfy moving in as Oswego getting their first chance in front, and a second opportunity misses as Wenrick tries to prevail the other way. Oswego, though, keeping the Seawolves in the zone for now. Here's Gavin Connolly, who joined the program at the midpoint last season. He'll make his first full year under head coach Chris Garofalo this year. Ben Kiever, Palfy, settling things down before things will ramp up immediately as Connolly gets it back. Seawolves looking to re-engage the other way. It's banked off the boards. Matt Anastasio, his first appearance on the ice. As Connolly drives it from the top, missing everyone in sight. Haskins attempted to keep it alive there, does. And a steal made down low by the newest member of the Seawolves, Robert Hyde. Here's Haskins backpedaling, thrown in on net, hit off the skate of Kiever as Nakagawa gets in the mix.
A great look there up to the point there, but unfortunately not everything off the shot there from Haskins.
What a play there, and a save made by Ben D. Fiore, and I mean Charles Poirier, when it seemed like he was going to be forced out of the blue line, out of the zone. He put on the spin cycle there to get the shot off and get away.
Indeed. Face it off to the left of the netminder here for Oswego.
Another new member of the Seawolves, Lorenzo Mara on the ice. And this is that freshman line that has been touted all through training camp. It's been alluded to by both head coach Chris Garofalo and assistant coach Andrew Vegalucci as something that could really change the tides for the Seawolves going forward.
Indeed. So far, after a bit of a really slow start here from both sides here, Stony Brook starting to get into a groove of offensive pressure. So yet another face-off here deep in Oswego territory.
Mara looking to win it to an intended target in sight as we get a quarrel along the boards. Mara trying to force it away from Oswego, takes a hit there. Another check thrown on another player as Oswego tries to clear the zone. Heavy check thrown, the first one of the Knights. And Oswego now with the possession, trying to toss it out harm's way. Stony Brook trying to take it back. Here's Kyle and the Stepney. Back for another ride wearing the Seawolves. Oh, DeFiore almost lost a step there as the puck came carrying behind the goal. Labos held to the ice there, getting a shot kicked away by DeFiore. Fighting off with another chance in front. Score! Peter Labos!
And Labos finding familiar territory here, getting to the back of net there. And that was just an incredible second chance effort and just a nose down grinding goal.
He has the propensity to score on this very ice. When he was a member of the PAL Junior Islanders squad, and he does it here at an all-new level, wearing the Seawolves emblem, putting Stony Brook up 1-0 here in the first period. Smith spikes it in deep, giving chase to Napoli. As Nate Legret tries to put pressure on the Lakers. Back the other way, Derrito cruising in, floating it on, and stopped away by Reganato. Gets played back to the point. Blocked there by Legret. Coming in with a head full of steam, trying to make something happen was DiNapoli. As DeFiore plays it off his glove down to the ice before Oswego tries to re-engage the other way. Derrito with the leaning stick, trying to get ahead of his attackers. Wenrick. Christian Malik. Connolly finds Malik. Malik switching gears, bursting down the wing, slamming on the brakes as he tries to create separation against the Lakers, who do their parts at mitigating the offensive surge by Stony Brook. As Clifford gets a touch on that one, goes in on Teddy Valenti. Two Long Island natives there. Cormanic floats it in deep, giving chase his line mates DeZaro and Malik. As Oswego tries to counteract the other way, instead Stony Brook keeping it alive in the zone. Paul DeZaro, year 2 for him. Valenti firing, not a lot of elevation on that shot. Seawolves keeping it alive in the zone, however. DeZaro, Valenti at the right time. Couldn't get another strong opportunity on that time. It's pushed out. Jeremy Keys trying to steal it away from the Stepney. Instead, it's the Seawolves who have the possession, or did have it for a moment as it goes in for icing, and it will move the face-off draw back all the way in Stony Brook zone.
Good opportunity here for Oswego. They're going to get a fresh set of skaters here and a gassed Seawolves line here. We'll have to face off against the Lakers here. The face-off's going to be to the left of Reganato.
This is going to be a challenge for Stony Brook. Got to clear the zone quickly. Get those tired boys off the ice. Fresh new legs in action to prevent Oswego from capitalizing. And there's DeZaro placed on the near wall. Oswego keeping it in the zone and doing an admirable job at that part. And as that is thrown to the other side, coming into the mix, Sarver at the point. As this one is pushed in front. Wheeled along the wall by Siselka, couldn't reach an intended target, and he lost the footing, allowing Hyde to gain the zone. Hyde almost with some magical maneuvers there, and a magical save made by Ben DeFiore. Stuck the leg up, got a piece of it from the pads, as putting on the moves in the Seawolves zone, the Quebec native, as Anastasio now taking charge the other way. Matt Anastasio put to a stop there as Nakagawa tries to make something happen. Anastasio plays it back to the point. Haskins, Poirier throws it on goal, but it got blocked.
And Nakagawa had a great two-shot opportunity there just before on that last sequence, just getting bodied out from being able to get a stick on that open, gaping net.
Anastasio trying to search for the possession. Instead, it's Oswego with some momentum as they come in with a chance the other way. Have some difficulty setting something up as Stony Brook starts to pack the zone with all of their counterparts defending that area. Meanwhile, Gavin Connolly doing everything in his right to try to get through everyone. Anastasio leaning on his man. Connolly from the top. Stick save beat DiFiore. And we get a hand pass called. This will stop play.
Seawolves definitely getting their opportunities here deep in the Oswego zone. Not a lot of answers coming back here from the boys in green tonight.
Mara staying put on the ice. As Vernilla, or actually this is a new line intact. As Oswego challenging the other way. Heavy check thrown. Colin Wenrick with a big body hits. And that really shookened up Makarenko, who is stumbling getting to the bench, or at least attempting to get to the bench. Now he is there safely.
That was a big check.
And Wenrick looking to do more damage, this time with his stick. Save made by DiFiore.
Wenrick there, good check there and a good shot. He'll go off for a change as job well done.
It's that Boston Junior Bruin mentality. That Beantown Bruiser coming into the mix as always here for Stony Brook. And it's played a big role just there before with that hit on Makarenko. Hudson DiNapoli set to take the draw, but not before DiFiore gets himself well situated. In front, spiked over the goal, and a Cooper Smith challenging, and he's going to take a penalty. Not what the Seawolves wanted.
Well, I think we just got that one evened up here. That's an unfortunate lack of discipline, and we're not seeing the ref's got his arm up.
And this is something you don't want the Seawolves to be involved in terms of the lack of discipline, like you just alluded to right there. Something that really trended downwards last year, which was such a positive thing for the Seawolves, in that they stayed out of the box and not really relied on, or not really gave into those retaliatory things that we used to see in previous seasons.
Well, looks like they're not going to get the payback hit here from Oswego, and the Lakers here are going to get a power play out of this.
So Cooper Smith, for stapling his man against the boards, puts Oswego on the power play for the first time tonight. And for Stony Brook, they will have to rely on the fourth best penalty kill that the former ESCHL division saw last season. So maybe a new era beginning here under the new divisional umbrella. Cormatic trying to fight it free and clear the zone, and doing the part there, Teddy Valenti, as he calls an audible, gets to the bench. New reinforcements on the ice, including the penalty kill specialist, Kyle Nastepny.
The penalty, if you didn't hear it, 2 for boarding.
Here's Cardi. Or, pardon me, Adam Jubran, who has had his way with the Seawolves in previous head-to-head meetings. He's always a dangerous threat when he has the puck on his stick when these two teams go head-to-head. Jackson Haskins with a nice clear. That gets another fresh change going for the Seawolves. DiNapoli off. Back on, Anastasio and Hyde. Hyde trying to put a stop to King as Oswego has some trouble entering the zone as Hyde throws the big check. Nolan Sullivan, who scored last season when these two teams played, got his chance there. Another heavy check thrown, this time by Anastasio against King. Meanwhile, down in the corner, Gavin Connolly is trying to take it away from Sullivan. Now Anastasio comes in for the assist. Anastasio almost barreled into his man there as Sullivan finds an open target. The Lakers gaining the zone once again. 5 seconds remaining on the power play. Regalado with the stop. Face-off draw coming up in the Seawolves zone.
Yeah, Seals probably looking to try to get a man sprung through the neutral zone here after the penalty expires. 4 seconds to go. We'll see what the Seals do here. If they win the face-off, they just try to send it. Oswego's got to be aware of that possibility. You see the defenseman coming right out to the blue line here and staying wide.
Cooper Smith ready to hop the boards and go to the bench for Christian Malik. Meanwhile, Paul Desaro giving chase as he tries to steal the possession away from the Lakers. James Clifford looking to get an extra step there, but to no avail. And another Long Island native on the ice for Oswego, Andrew Wurst, former East Islip chief. Here's Valenti. And instead of finding someone out open, it's going in for icing, moving the face-off draw back into Stony Brook zone.
We did find the end boards. Fortunately, you don't want to find the end boards when you're behind the red line.
Absolutely.
10 minutes to go, first period. Seawolves dominating in the shots on goal department, 11-4. More importantly, they're up 1-0.
But the real question is, how long before Oswego responds? There's uncertainty there. And there's a chance! Score! Braden Palfy. And some eerie foreshadowing on my part, unfortunately, as this game is now knotted up at 1.
Well, you see right there, he had the puck, took it right up to the point there. No pressure here from the Seawolves, and had all the time in the world to get a shot lined up, slid it right through traffic, and Regalado didn't really have a great shot at trying to stop that one.
And the newly minted captain for the Lakers gets his team on the board. And now Stony Brook will look to respond as if they can do it first before Oswego, as the Lakers trying to take over this momentum from the Seawolves. And there's some trouble there. The bouncing puck giving chase. Poirier. Here comes Peter Labos. Hip checked as the puck went out of play.
That's another one into the Oswego bench, and that one's going to come outside. Labos unable to get it deep into the zone.
So for Stony Brook, want to stay on your heels here. Don't want to avoid getting rattled, as we just saw with Poirier. Bouncing puck coming off the stick, almost allowing Oswego to take advantage of the opportunity. But still a lot of time left to be played here in this first period. 9.5 to go. So plenty of time in the tank for the Seawolves to recharge and change the narrative once again.
A lot of hockey to play here. And all we've done is press the reset button.
Charles Poirier finding the Stepney. Those two connecting there. Now look at this puck movement by the Seawolves. Anastasio leads it in front. Couldn't connect there with Hyde. Hyde couldn't connect back to Nestepny as Derrito tries to get a step past him. Good job by Nestepny, almost canceling the full situation out. Anastasio backpedaling. Chance of a great save by Steven Regalado. His first big one of the year. Or was it blocked in front?
I think Regalado got a piece of that one. As far as the statisticians go, they said they got it.
Thank heavens. And one could say that's what head coach Chris Garofalo is saying to himself on the bench too. Chance from the top, and another quick save made by Regalado. Off the ice, Nakagawa.
From the 10-minute mark here, I said the Seawolves are dominating the shots on goal department. Last 4 shots on goal have come from the Lakers. That includes that nice snipe there from the point, courtesy of the captain.
Nate Brett back on the ice. Hudson DiNapoli stepping in here against Nolan Sullivan. Has trouble kicking it forward, and leads to a chance. In tight, missing everything in sight. Was Bailey doused on that chance. Another opportunity! He nearly squeaked it home. Makarenko back in the fold. Another chance misfiring for the Lakers.
2 good shots on goal there. That ties them up here in the count.
Keever barreled to the ice as LeGret gets his licks in on the Lakers in the physical department. Doused. Seawolves trying to douse the fire that is the Oswego Lakers. Sullivan's chance denied. DiNapoli, watch out! Driven hard into the boards.
Not to get on the boys in stripes tonight, but we saw a similar one raised 2 minutes in the other end.
Here's LeGret. Give and go play couldn't be made there. Oh! Tag teaming at its finest by the Seawolves. Another chance. That one couldn't be stuffed home. And the hits are really ramping up now, Trevor.
Absolutely. We didn't, like I said, we expected the sparks to fly tonight. So if you're expecting an easy high school game tonight on LISN, I regret to inform you that's on the other channel.
The only difference is this ain't preseason hockey. No,
sir.
no.
Boys have come out to play tonight and come to hit and come to make an impact on the national rankings from day one.
This is floated back in the zone. Wenrick trying to restore order here. Here comes Christian Malik gaining a step. Malik putting on the brake, trying to set it up in front as it pinballs off a few sticks there. DeZaro trying to twist away from pressure, finding it again from Malik in tight. As the Lakers able to breathe for a bit as this gets cleared away. Malik giving chase, and he'll try to set it up once again from the Seawolves' end, but not doing so cleanly there. Back the other way. Here's King. Chance denied. Kyle Nestepny switching gears. Nestepny trying to fly ahead. Nestepny floats it in deep, giving chase Nakagawa. Haskins back in the mix. Anastasio with a swipe and a miss there. As this gets floated back the other way by the Seawolves, banking off the boards and going in for icing, which will put Stony Brook's current players on the ice in a precarious position. As there you see the head official telling Nestepny, no, you gotta stay. You gotta stay out there.
Hey, you try to play the game as hard as you can and try to get whatever rest you can in these situations.
And for the Seawolves, this is not a position where you want to be, especially with how Oswego scored the goal here tonight, which came right off the face-off draw. And here's the chance missing wide off the stick of Jubron as it's cleared away. Stony Brook getting it right back. Here comes Mara. Lorenzo Mara pinned up against the boards. Stony Brook with an open chance here. Trezera couldn't get it through traffic. A good block made. Derrito continuing to create havoc in the zone as he tries to take it away from Trezera. Here is Hyde finding Anastasio. Watch out for these two. The SUNY tandem. Trezera in front. And it's swiped away by Di Fiore to stop play.
Stony Brook finally getting a little bit off the heels here. 5:13 to go in the first.
Robert Hyde showing his demeanor in this contest in various ways, shapes, and forms. Bailey doused, able to clear it out of the zone. As Sullivan tried to get very eager there, looking for the possession. Doused with another touch on that one. We get a whistle blown.
And that one just popped out of the ice there onto the Seawolves bench.
Under 5 to play here in the first period. That's right, this is only the first of 3 periods But if there's one thing we should know about these hockey games is that there's no guarantee it ends after 3 periods.
Until the intensity is starting to really ramp up here on the ice here as the sticks are flying a little bit and the checks are getting a little bit heavier and a little later and maybe a little earlier.
You have to wonder if these officials are going to let some of these things slide and before it even reaches another level or so. Another chance fought away by Reganato. So we get more quarreling near the front of the goal. Meanwhile, Joey Trezera leading the cavalry up ahead. Fought away by Di Fiore. Clear made by the Lakers as King comes into the mix. Drawing his presence against DiNapoli. Back the other way, Salins kicked away by Reganato. And another clear made, this time by the Seawolves. Won't be touched up for icing this time. But tell that to the Lakers as King and company right back in on the attack before the Seawolves start back the other way. DiNapoli taking it off the glass. Couldn't stuff it up in front. Cooper Smith back in the mix. Haven't seen him in a while ever since he took the penalty for boarding. The game's only penalty so far tonight. Haskins from the top. Sliding save made in the glove of Di Fiore to stop play. And some chattering between DiNapoli and Crawford.
And possibly just making some dinner plans here. But the Seawolves are starting to really get themselves back into the offensive pressure that defined the first half of this period. They're not having any good high-quality looks at the net, but they're starting to just get any looks, which is better than what they were.
Nakagawa with a big look. And Di Fiore had to take cover. Anastasio with a puck on the string, keeping it in the zone. And look at this, finding it in front. Great save by Ben Di Fiore.
That was a high-quality opportunity there. Almost finished.
Nakagawa trying to finish the job in front, but instead it's Puffy. Regaining traction the other way. Look at the Lakers finding ways to get back in the zone. Give and go, play in front. Reganato said no. Great end-to-end action. Jubron.
Seawolves definitely got away with a tripping penalty there on that opportunity, but
chance in front, spinning out of control, not able to get the shot off was DeZaro. Anastasio keeping the energy on the Seawolves side. DeZaro having trouble with it, coming into the mix, thankfully, has Cormatic, and DeZaro's chance denied as one player's stick shatters in half.
It's like one of those plays you draw up in practice. You get the little spin move, pass to the guy in the slot, and he takes the shot. And it was almost like he didn't expect to be able to be in that position to take the shot. And excellent save there, nonetheless.
Sometimes you find yourself in the right place at the right time, and that's surely what DeZaro did just moments there, like you alluded to.
Well, that's why they call it practice, folks.
Cormatic off the draw. Couldn't get to the goal. As Stony Brook keeps it in the zone, however. But it gets knocked out of play off the stick of Valenti's screamer from the top.
2:10 to go here in the first here, and this has been quite the period, back and forth. Almost a tale of two periods here as Stony Brook tries to remember what that first half of the first period felt like right now.
Cormatic couldn't win the draw that time. As King and company look to advance the other way, which they do. Salins, Sazelka, save, rebound, double denials. Extravagant play by Reganato.
Two brilliant saves there to keep this one knotted at one.
And similar to how he performed in his debut against Rhode Island last year, Steven Reganato is putting himself together a highlight reel for the ages. And it's only the first period, ladies and gentlemen. Salen's chance missing wide.
I think Reganado got a piece of that and sent it wide.
So another save accounted for by number 29 of Stony Brook then. King. Cizelka battling hard down low. Keever keeping it alive as Stony Brook couldn't escape the zone. And a save made by Reganado. That is another
16
one.
Shots on goal here for the Lakers. You might see the scoreboard show 14, but the scorekeeper's been behind on quite a few.
Minute and a half remaining here in the first. A tightly contested hockey game to start off the 2025-26 campaign.
Wouldn't have it any other way.
Absolutely. Heavy check throw, and that time by Hyde. As Wenrick tries to escape the zone, coming back into the mix. Hyde. Connolly. Couldn't connect with Anastasio there. A nifty deflection attempt in front by Derrito wouldn't go, as Hyde throws the reverse check against him. Palfy. With Oswego's only goal. Turnover committed by the Lakers, giving a chance for Stony Brook to erupt. Anastasio with the dangle, but couldn't set up Nakagawa for the finish. Nakagawa with other plans in mind. Over the net it goes. Final minute of play here in the first. This one is sauced out safely by the Lakers, but not far enough as Poirier comes right back into the picture. Poirier trying to steal it right back. Derrito connecting there with Sarver. And a glove-high save made by Reganado. Instead of playing it out, he's going to elect to cover it up. Well, we got a lot of talking points to get through once we reach the intermission, Trevor. And it begins with just this Seawolves front, how they've came out of the gates already, showing their demeanor with some of these fresh new faces coming into the mix.
A lot to like here, a lot of offensive pressure here for the Seawolves. Definitely some lapses here from time to time for the Seawolves, but here they come 2-on-2, break in.
DiNapoli, turnaround try missing wide. As this is spiked out, and icing called with literally no time left on the clock.
Yeah, 1.4 to go.
Shots on goal 19-15. Stony Brook, maybe one more before the buzzer sounds if they can win this draw right here. And that will not happen. End of 20 minutes, and we're tied at 1. Trevor, what have we seen? Well, we've seen a lot so far, but what has stood out to you in these first 20 minutes?
Probably the one thing that we didn't see a lot of is blocked shots. You're talking about 19 shots on goal for the Seawolves, 17 for the Lakers. And, I mean, you had a handful of blocked shots here, but lots of offensive opportunities for both sides. The Stony Brook Seawolves definitely left a couple chances that they probably should have gotten into the back of the net. And Reganado's done a great job of keeping the Lakers at bay. But defensively, the Seawolves got to tighten up a little bit coming into the second period as they've been finding themselves a little bit behind the 8 ball with certain Lakers matchups.
Absolutely, and one that stands out to me is Braden Palfy, how he was able to squeak through all that traffic, find room and take the shot. Happened literally right off the draw. So if you're Stony Brook, you know, you would advise to try to mitigate that as much as possible so it doesn't happen as the second period looms. I guess one more talking point you got to bring up also too. as we saw Cooper Smith taking the only penalty of the period. Obviously, you would think there would be a retaliatory call against Oswego. That wasn't the case, and this is something that Stony Brook, this is advisable. You want to stay away from this because you'll find yourself behind the curve instead of ahead of it, which is something head coach Chris Garofalo wants this team to be going forward.
Yeah, obviously you don't want to be taking penalties when you don't have to be, but if you're going to take it, make sure it's something that you're going to get your money's worth for. Something that's going to put your team, get some momentum going. But in Stony Brook's case here today, the one penalty, maybe a marginal call on the boarding, kind of set a little bit of a weird pseudo precedent. You saw all the physicality kind of back off for a stretch of 4 to 5 minutes, and then after that, we're just back to the main program. Everybody's throwing big checks and getting a little chippy. But overall, I don't think the game's out of control in that regard. I think the refs doing a pretty good job keeping things as inside the whistles as you can. Obviously, the second period's going to come back, and I think you're going to see a Seawolves team that's going to come out with a little bit more intensity. And I think you're going to see an Oswego team come out there and say, hey guys, we're the higher ranked team coming into this. We're the better team. We should be hitting. We should be getting the puck on net more. We're seeing some opportunities with Regginato, and let's get it.
One thing that head coach Chris Garofalo and also assistant coach Andrew Begalucci talked about on Wednesday morning is this: they want what they're looking for out of this team. They want this team to have an identity similar to the Islanders of the 80s. They want something where their opponents would need to adapt to. And Stony Brook, they have those weapons to show for it, but only time will tell how and what ways this game goes here tonight.
Right. When you want to play an identity style, something where you're dictating the pace of play as opposed to being the team to adapt. If you're pushing the pace of play or you're the one defining the style of the game, you're the one in control. If you're the one that has to see that you're getting out checked or you're getting out skated, you're getting out forechecked or whatever the situation is, you have to change your game plan. And sometimes you don't have those pieces on your bench. Maybe you've gone with an alternate lineup, or they're hurt or they're gassed, or you're having to rely on your top line too much. Whereas if you're pushing that strategy, you're able to roll your lines. You're able to not worry about having maybe a mismatch on the ice. And I think that's what kind of Stony Brook was doing out there tonight, which is why you saw sometimes occasionally you had a bit of a mismatch here. Lakers top line comes out on the ice and Stony Brook's kind of stuck in their zone for a couple minutes. And thankfully for the Seawolves, only once it's come back to haunt them with that brilliant shot from the point. But Stony Brook's got to be a little bit more on it in the defensive zone to stop those opportunities.
Fortunately for that goal, that came under 5-on-5 conditions and not under the power plays. The Seawolves successfully killed off that penalty. And we hit all our talking points, so I would say this was a well-defined discussion for our parts. And now we'll step away as we got more hockey coming along the way as the Zamboni takes things over here in the second period. You're watching Stony Brook Seawolves hockey here on LI Sports Network. And we welcome you back, ladies and gentlemen. Second period just upon the horizon here at the rinks, as this game is knotted up at 1 after a frantic 20-minute first period in which the Seawolves saw scoring his first goal of the season, Peter Labos, the Long Island native, whereas Oswego had the Ontario Canadian Braden Palfley picking up his first of the year wearing the C for the Lakers, as we got 20 more minutes of hockey coming your way in just a few. 19-15 shots on goal. Seawolves leading in that department.
Indeed, and see the Seawolves taking the ice just a moment here as the ice is getting cured up here after what felt like a longer than normal intermission, but as the Lakers take the ice now, but hoping to see a little bit of an adjustment here from the Seawolves. Keep the intensity going forward there. Maybe a little heads up on the line matchups a bit from that perspective. But overall, there's a lot of things here from the Seawolves that they liked coming out of that first period. A lot of things the Lakers liked coming out on their side. So it'll just come down to who makes the better adjustments coming into this second period.
Absolutely. As the two goaltenders switching sides, getting familiar with their positions where they stand right now, as Ben DiFiore feel like no matter where he stands, he's always going to have a flash of brilliance, and the same can be said for Stephen Raganato, as we saw a multitude of fantastic stops in the last 20 minutes of hockey here at the rinks. Just how the first period began. The second will kick off with the line of Cooper Smith, Nate Legretz, and Hudson DiNapoli. Joey Trezera and Teddy Valenti manning the point positions, while Oswego have their fair share of heavy artillery. The co-captain, Jeremy Keys on the right wing, James Clifford, the Long Island native, centering, and Gavin Black, opposite of Nate Legret. Second period underway. Seawolves with the possession here. Valenti gonna skate it up before sending it deep with a wild sauce off the glass. Hard check thrown there by Smith on Jubron, as Sarver tries to escape out of that location. Sarver able to connect ahead. Here's James Clifford trying to progress forward. Instead, it's Cooper Smith rushing back, or as assistant coach Andrew Begalucci calls it, track backing. Something that this team has worked awfully long on in the practice I attended on Wednesday morning. And you have to wonder, we'll see more of that happening as this game continues to intensify. Coming in there, Cooper Smith with the steal. Can't connect with Mara cleanly as he takes a spill in the end boards. Valenti couldn't keep it in the zone. Misfires on the hit attempt against Black, as Sarver controls it. Jubron trying to put Mara in the rinse cycle, but it's turned over. Labos. Now here's Bernillo. Couldn't get a clean shot off. Seawolves still attacking in the zone. Here's Connolly. Couldn't pull the trigger in time. It got stolen away by Black. Gavin Black pushed hard to the ice there by Connolly, as Oswego couldn't execute on the offense that time. Vernillo stashes that one ahead. Wenrick couldn't paddle it back in front, as Oswego attempts to clear the zone here. Sazelka braced for the hit there, and Vernillo comes up with a steal. Vuevos had some company coming in from behind, as Mara tries to wheel it back over to someone. Instead, it's Labos giving it back. And Labos still patrolling the zone here. Fanning attempt by Vernillo, as Poirier tries to make some magic here in his debut tonight. Labos couldn't pull the trigger that time, But Toe Bernillo, as we get an arm up in the air, and you have to wonder if things are going to erupt imminently once the whistle sounds. Instead, we get a holding penalty.
That's going to go against Oswego there for getting the arm up and around the neck.
Started with Vernillo charging into the corner, racing in for that possession, getting entangled with one of the Lakers, and all indications are saying it's King who will take a seat on the throne, but not the throne you want to be sitting on, that's for sure. He's in the sin bin for 2 minutes as we begin our journey here on the Stony Brook Orthopedic Associates power play. The first one of the season. It's been a long time since I've said that. It's great to be back. Year 4 as Cormatic and the Seawolves work the zone. They dish it around the perimeter. The question remains, who's going to strike and pull the trigger? Malik. Now DeZaro. DeZaro stepping in. Fought away by DiFiore. A crowd gathers in front as the puck stays loose. It's still
loose.
And now we get
down.
A whistle blown because Ben DiFiore.
Looks like his helmet popped off.
Yes, indeed. And thankfully it's nothing beyond that. So an eventful start to the power play for the Seawolves, almost stashing in the opportunity immediately. Jeremy Keys on the ice here for the Lakers. Wenrick. In his neighborhood at the top. Centering feed! Far wing chance missing for Cormatic as he rushed on over to try to tap it home.
A backdoor opportunity there would have been a tap in if it landed, but fortunately did not.
Wenrick. Angled ahead, Cormatic taking over once again. Anastasio in the mix now with DeZaro in tow. Anastasio. New man in the picture at the top coming in. Hyde. As DeZaro works his way at the point, now down low before giving it to Hyde. Hyde. DeZaro controlling, firing, got it blocked. 20 seconds remaining on the power play. Long stretch chance missing as we get a quarrel in front of the net. However, the Seawolves keeping the possession in the zone. Centering chance missing on the backdoor opportunity. Hyde as DiFiore shut the door on him.
DiFiore there with an excellent save there to keep this one knotted at 1. Lakers, while they're not getting anything crazy in terms of opportunities or clearing attempts on this penalty kill, what they are doing is keeping Stony Brook very soundly to the outside, forcing him to move the puck around the perimeter and try to find some opportunities.
Hyde stepping in once again. This one is one to the back. Poirier floats it in front, loose, scramble, and it could not be knifed home in time as the whistle sounds. DiFiore makes the stop. Oswego successfully kills off the penalty.
It's been all Stony Brook this second period here so far. No shots on goal tallied yet for the Lakers.
But there's a sense of uncertainty in the air now that Oswego was able to kill off the penalty. You have to wonder, will they regain some momentum here and take advantage of what's possibly to come?
Well, you would hope so, but starts with winning a faceoff and getting it out of the zone, and the Seawolves give this one away.
Here's Bailey doused, leading the cavalry, couldn't set it up in front in time. Another opportunity missing there. Nolan Sullivan Sets it back to the point. Jubron tried to stash it forward. Instead, he found
4-on-2.
Huevos. Connolly firing over the nets. As Poirier keeps it alive in the zone, but it gives Vernillo chase. Stumbling, falling to the ice. He's entangled there with Doust. Meanwhile, Seawolves trying to set another perfect play up in the zone. Oswego trying to mitigate the opportunity for Stony Brook as Doust was able to clear it away. He heads to the bench. Meanwhile, Poirier connects with Vernillo. Vernillo. Not a strong shot there that time as DiFiore made a stop. Wingman score! Lorenzo Mara! 2-1.
And Mara there, just the right place, right time, right in the slot there, and picks the corner there, leaving the netminder in a very precarious position there to go coast to coast and try to get in the way of that one, and they did not have the time to get there.
Shot out of a cannon, practically out of nowhere, coming in out of sight, out of mind, and firing it home to put the Seawolves on top.
Right, you are, and that was that's how you draw it up. You drive down that center lane of the slot there. You get in position, get your stick down, and good things happen.
So they may not have gotten a power play goal, but any goal is a success nonetheless.
Scoring the goal for number 16, Lorenzo Mara. That's the number 17, Peter Lopez. Time goal, 14:20 remaining in the second period.
Back the other way, Renzoni embarking in the zone of Stony Brook. Trouble in front, Seawolves, and a save made. I believe Reganado got a piece of it with the left pad. Back the other way, Trezera drops in the trailer. Anastasio couldn't feed it in front. Chance from the top, missing wide. Anastasio couldn't get a hold of the opportunity that time. As King finds himself in a difficult situation.
We got a Laker down here on the ice there after that stick to the midsection.
It was Anastasio that got the stick in that location.
King was able to get up and off the ice.
Poirier back in the mix. Couldn't charge up that time as the Lakers change things up on the ice while the Seawolves remain put. Poirier with the loft in deep. Cormatic giving chase. Muscles his man against the boards. That's Duncan Crawford. Another chance at front. Rebound couldn't be found in time by Cormatic. Heavy pressure being instilled by the Seawolves. Now the Lakers charging back the other way. Oswego trying to get something going to get even again with the Seawolves. Watch out. Haskins getting taken to task heavily there that time. Meanwhile, Stony Brook trying to just come up with another way to make their presence felt in Oswego zone. But Palfy and company are doing their part at continuing to put the pressure on Stony Brook until now. Hudson DiNapoli charging down the wing, fanning on the shot. Tesaro, right place, right time, keeping it alive. As Smith's chance got stopped. Cooper Smith keeping it alive in the zone. That one gets tapped on, but couldn't be found on the stick of Tesaro in time, leading to a chance for Palfy. Long stretch shot missing over the nets and high off the glass. Wenrick looking to escape. And back the other way comes Stony Brook. End-to-end action. Smith taking the task there. Connolly drives his man to the ice, and it gives Worst a chance. That's stopped by Reganado. James Clifford, Andrew Worst, the Long Island tandem on the ice together. Not able to execute in time there. Big body checks being delivered at every corner. And another quarrel ensues at the midline. Here's Smith dangling, Cooper Smith. Legret out alone in the corner, looking for someone That was Mara in the bumper, but couldn't execute on the chance. As Wenrick races back, Andrew Worst with the heavy body presence against him. Those two entangled. Meanwhile, Nolan Sullivan stashes it back to the point. Renzoni. Another opportunity floated on. Couldn't get through Reganato as the Seawolves do their parts and mitigating another opportunity by the Lakers. Makarenko firing, couldn't get it through, rebound, score! And now we have chaos after the goal. It is all breaking loose now. A dog pile ensues. We got a Pier 6 brawl on our hands here at the rinks. And by no means, folks, this is not preseason hockey. By any means, this is regular season divisional hockey at its finest. Coming out of the fray, Gavin Connolly without a bucket. This game is tied at 2. And the man that was shaken up heavily early on back in the first period, down on the ice again, but this time at the expense of him scoring a goal. And now we have to wait and see what repercussions are in store for both of these teams after the equalizer by Makarenko.
Well, I think the easiest way to sort this one out here is if you threw a punch, you're probably out of the game, that's for sure. I think that's the only way you really untangle this one cleanly is you just you hand out a bunch of DQs and come back tomorrow.
And after all of that, everything subsides, at least for now. Oswego not even thinking about the physicalities of what just took place. They're thinking about the end goal as they are fired up with that equalizer punched home by Makarenko. Meanwhile, Stony Brook awaiting what major penalty is being assessed here. We got Palfy and Cormatic being told by the officials of what the official ruling is going to be. And we also have...
We're just rewinding the YouTube feed just to get a quick look at the incident again. But it's not what you want to do as a Seawolf here, because
oof. So Lorenzo Mara kicking things off with the hit after the shot by Makarenko. And then everything just erupted.
I think the only ones here that probably shouldn't be getting anything here is 44 and 22. Everyone else I would just be tossing DQs on and calling a day. Maybe you give Mara the 2 for the cross check, but a bunch of willing participants there.
You are telling me.
But yeah, this is unfortunately the not fun part.
But most importantly, for both teams, depending who gets ejected, that's going to have a massive impact on how the rest of this game goes. Because if there were some star players and some key players involved in that fracas, it's going to pay it's going to pay in the long run.
Well, and that's it's kind of the issue here. Is you got a bunch of players here involved in the initial incident.
So one of them right off the bat, Lorenzo Mara, he scored.
Mara's going to get the initial cross check, I think, here. But that's just your garden variety cross check to say to not call it a penalty, but that's
from first glance, it didn't look like a cross check, at least from my vantage point. It looked like just someone just finishing off a hit. But let me see. I mean,
no, it's not. He doesn't have the stick up.
Yeah,
it's actually he's going in. He's going in with his chest primarily there. Try to get the shoulder out there. So honestly, he does follow through with the hands though. That's what they're gonna look at.
It's that.
And then you got you don't want to do that. That's how you're gonna get caught. So.
And after all of that.
So we're still untangling this here because I don't think we have a single penalty on the score sheet yet. And the referees are listen. This is a tough one, and they don't get to rewind the YouTube feed like we do. So I think we are going to get this thing started though. Here we're going to play 5-a-side. Nothing up on the board on either side either. It looks like.
So potentially just some 10-minute misconducts.
We're going to get some DQs, I think. Although I do only see 4 Seawolves out there, so I think we're still trying to figure out what this actually is here. I would assume that we do have a penalty for the Seawolves for the initial check after the goal. That would be my assumption here, based on the players in the ice. But
10:13 to go here in the second period, and we still have a lot of hockey left to be played.
Well, Stony Brook's got nobody on the ice here. We don't have a penalty on the board here. And we're gonna, there it is, 5 minutes on the board here. That's what the call's gonna be.
So it's Gavin Connolly out of the game, seemingly.
One thing I wish we had somebody down at the box there so we could kind of get the penalties, but we'll probably have to report that back to you by the start of next game with how slow sometimes those come up to us.
Derrito smushed up against the boards, coming into the picture. Nakagawa entangled there. We got 3 green jerseys on 1. But it's no surprise when you have a lot of room with this 4-on-4, or I should say, yeah. No, 5-on-4 hockey, yeah. Second power play of the night for Oswego, and it's a big one.
0 for 1, 1 shot on goal.
Cormatic did a good job there to mitigate the pressure being instilled by Oswego. Jubron, Derrito. Settling things down before it awfully ramps up once again. One-timer missing wide as Jubron ramped it up with that chance. Another opportunity and another misfire for Oswego, that time off the stick of Derrito that inadvertently takes him all the way out of the zone. Jubron looking to go on a journey forward. King, Sullivan, scores! Some things never change, and for Nolan Sullivan, he has scored once again against Stony Brook.
And that's going to put them ahead here, and they have more power play to go here, as that's a 5-minute major. I'm surprised there's nobody in the box serving that, though.
Over 3 minutes to go on the major penalty. And who knows how many more could be scored here during this time, as Nolan Sullivan captures his second goal in head-to-head play against the Stony Brook Seawolves. He scored last season, and he does it here tonight on opening nights of all nights.
Still plenty of hockey to go here, folks. But
certainly.
As you can see, the pace is kind of falling apart here with all the penalties.
Oswego looking to pedal back forward. Renzoni saucing this one around the wall. And King alone in the corner before Wenrick pressures him. As Oswego with a lot of room to set something up once again. And a big clear. That was a frantic sauce out of harm's way by Stony Brook. As King elects to play it backwards, as
Oswego goals, number 7, Nolan
Anastasio with the steal,
number 12, Trent King.
but no intended target in sight. It's all him against everyone else in sight. Meanwhile, Sullivan looking to charge up ahead. Feeding it King, far wing chance. And the scramble ensues, a save made by Reganado, rebound, double denials. Oswego keeping it in the zone. Nolan Sullivan hanging on the left side. Deflection in front. And Reganado holds on with Saselka spilling into the net.
Bit of a brutal sequence here for the Seawolves. Unfortunately, with the goal, the power play, the power play goal, all within 5 minutes.
The one thing you can look at in a positive light is if they can make it through the rest of this power play without any more damage.
Well, that's kind of what you're looking at right now is damage mitigation and seeing maybe if you can spring somebody here. They almost had an opportunity early on to send somebody the other way. I think it was Chromatic that was almost picked the puck off at the point. So
if there's someone that you ought to spring ahead on the Seawolves right now, it's Kyle Nestepany. That man can take off like a rocket when the opportunity presents itself. Salins, Palfy. That one got blocked as Poirier looking to skate back the other way. Charles Poirier, the Quebec native. Poirier. Now Oswego trying to work their way back through the neutral zone. Legretz standing his ground. Now he finds himself entangled. Couldn't dash it forward as Salins and Derrito connect. Here's Salins. Under a minute left on the major penalty to Stony Brook. As Gavin Connolly seemingly out for the rest of this game, while Oswego controls the narrative for the time being. Derrito in the corner. Half a minute to go on the man advantage for Oswego State. Derrito, long-range feed, couldn't connect there. But I believe that was McWilliams. Another chance, another stop. And a clear made by Stony Brook. And this should do it for the penalty kill.
one more chance potentially here as we tick down to 7 seconds.
And 5 minutes left in the period as Anastasio tries to take off the other way. Anastasio controlling. May have held on too long as we get too many men signaled. And just when things seemed like it was
stabilizing, suddenly we're back in the spin cycle here as the Seawolves going to have to send somebody off to serve the bench minor.
Absolutely.
Coach Vegs here kind of being a little questioning as to what's going on here. Coach Garofalo obviously not happy. And it's Hyde here trying to get an explanation from the officials here as to what the call there was.
So Vernillo will sit in the box serving the penalty. Point blank range chance missing for Oswego State. Their third trip to the power play tonight after executing at least one time on the major power play and make it 2 for 3 as the Lakers double down on the Seawolves.
Seawolves here not looking too sharp here on that shorthanded opportunity there. You can tell in the body language a bit here.
It is John Manzi celebrating his first goal of the season.
Seawolves going to need a spark here to get back into this game now as they've fallen 2 behind now.
And it's scary to think at one point during this period, Stony Brook had more than double the amount of shots on goal against Oswego State, and now they are even up once again. Cormatic firing, got blocked there with a lot of jerseys in front. Pulfy. Manzi dragged down to the ice.
Icing.
Thankfully.
I heard the whistle and I said, wait a minute, that can't be, I don't see it.
Happy that we had the same thought there.
If you're a Stony Brook fan, I think you had the collective sigh of relief that it was icing and not another penalty and another trip to the box.
So William Cormatic set to take the draw here against Manzi, the latest goal scorer of this contest. A tie-up off the draw. Renzoni floats it to the near wall. Wenrick with the keep, but not enough to keep it alive in the zone, as now DeFiore electing not to play it as Renzoni will try to fork it out here. There's Sarver floating this one out of the zone. Haskins able to control it, but Sullivan has it before dumping it in deep. Another line change underway for the Lakers. Wenrick entangled with the captain, Pulfy. And that is the last thing you want Stony Brook to be involved in, is more extracurriculars. You're already down by 2 goals. Now's not the time to set aside your discipline. Nice move there. Tesoro! That one got blocked off a body in front. Haskins playing it down low. This one gets played back to point. A broken stick sitting idle near the bumper as it gets pushed away. And now Derrito. Oh, Makarenko floored Poirier. As it was Poirier looking to lay out Makarenko, and instead Makarenko got the best of him. Now the Seawolves are looking to get the best out of the Lakers, as that one is aerialed into the mesh to stop play. 2:56 remaining here in the second.
This pace is quickly picked up here by the Lakers here. After the scuffle and the various penalties here, this is a Lakers team that's charged and out here to play. More importantly for the Seawolves, in many cases they're outplaying them in forecheck and back check, overall checking, and body hits. Sunrick's got to get off their heels here.
Hyde entangled there on the draw, taking liberties against one of the Lakers. Meanwhile, in the Stepney trying to escape. No call there against Oswego State. Meanwhile, Hyde and Anastasio, the SUNY connection. No magic there that time. Oh! And that's, I am surprised didn't draw anything, as Nakagawa got the best out of someone there in the neutral zone, and everyone was up in arms on the Oswego State bench.
Yeah, a little bit of a trade of no calls here, trying to keep the game moving. Sunrick's got to watch the sticks though. They're getting away with a lot of trippings here. Right in the at the blue line there, Nakagawa got away with getting his stick tied up in the legs of an Oswego player, and no call there. But Stony Brook might not be doing themselves any favors on the penalty kill here, but they're definitely getting some favors in hand here with some of these no calls.
And there is the man that ignited that whole melee, Lorenzo Mara, on the ice. Mara looking to charge up here. Centering feed in the bumper! Missing wide off the stick of Huevos. Huevos. Brunello. And a soft shot into the back basket of DeFiore, and more extracurriculars after the whistle.
untangle the players and face it off to the right of DiFiore. Overall, has had a relatively good game here, 2 on 32, officially at least.
And this will bring back Mara to the draw, this time against Cizelka. Off the quick face-off, Labos got the shot off but couldn't get it past DiFiore. Renzoni nearly got pickpocketed there. Now Vernillo taking charge once again. Vernillo stashing this one forward. Mara trying to get a hold of it. Stony Brook keeping it in the zone. Oswego State now taking over once again. This one couldn't be canceled all the way out by Oswego State. Vernillo braced for impact. Valenti looking to step into one. And instead it's DiFiore taking a plunge, reaching out for the loose puck there. And
the Oswego player just drop his stick expecting to go.
At this rate, I can't tell you what's going on in these players' heads. But if you're Oswego State, it would be advisable not to find yourself in these extracurriculars. You have all the momentum
you're gonna
right
let
now.
Stony Brook do it for you.
So William Cormatic set to take the draw once again. And another tangle up there off the draw between Malik and Renzoni. Meanwhile, this is floated out by Manzi, and it's going to go all the way down for icing. And there's a roar from the bench, and a roar of disgust, one could say, from everyone on Oswego State's side for that icing call.
I don't know if I got the bench on this one. Usually those are the close ones, but the Stony Brook player was ahead, I think. Could be wrong. Could frame by frame it, but nonetheless, the four men in stripes on the ice have determined that the icing will stand.
57.7 remaining here in the second period. A very eventful and chaotic period, one could say. Haskins tried to float it forward, couldn't get it far enough to get it passed by Oswego State's players, as we got Palfy getting into the mix once again, readjusting his helmet. Meanwhile, Haskins looking to readjust the situation that's currently taking place on the ice. And this should no doubt go for icing. No, it didn't! Oh my goodness! Paul Tesaro!
And that's how you beat an icing, folks. Tesaro with a burst of speed beats this man down to the puck and then just absolutely blasts it past DiFiore.
Now you see me, now you don't. And just like that, it's a one-goal game once again. I mean, he came flying out of nowhere.
Absolutely, and if you're Oswego, you got to be incensed here on the lack of an icing here.
This could very well be a very entertaining and interesting third period coming up, because now with that goal scored by Stony Brook, you have to wonder if that icing, I guess we can call it a phantom icing call, that whether or not it's going to bite them back in the long run.
Well, that's the thing, is you had an icing call at one end, no icing on the other. Although I think you had two completely different scenarios.
All we know is that this game is about to reach new heights. So buckle up, folks. A turnover, Suzuka missing on the slapper. 10 seconds to go. Anastasio trying to charge up here. Heavy artillery in sight. And a save made by DiFiore as everyone came in. 3.3 to go. Chris Garofalo frantically trying to control the situation here. Stephanie had to get off and to the bench he went. Meanwhile, Mara set to take the draw as they try to execute with one last opportunity before the buzzer sounds. Now we get another delay.
Mara's going to get kicked out. Looks like Nakagawa will take the draw now.
Hyde looking to strike. Fadeaway try. Doesn't get the best of Di Fiore, missed way wide, and that's the end of 40 minutes of hockey, and a wild one at that. 4-3 Lakers. And Trevor, compared to the first period, there's a whole bunch of things we need to talk about.
All right, well, let's keep it brief here because it's going to get loud in here for the Chuck-a-Puck. Lakers came out with a lot more energy than the Seawolves. They pushed the envelope. They got some good opportunities. They got a goal and a 5-minute power play, which led to another goal. You get the Seawolves to take a too many men on the ice penalty. You score on that one. Now you're in great shape here. The Seawolves are floundering around trying to figure out how they're going to get themselves back into this game. And then you get a brilliant goal on an icing situation that may or may not have been called, depending on who's wearing the referee jerseys. And you have a game here that's one goal going into the third period.
It's a wild sequence of events.
Absolutely.
You couldn't have summarized it any better than that.
Well, with that, I think we're going to take a break here, catch our breath here, get some water, and you should too. Grab a snack. We got a third period of action here coming up in just a moment here at the Rinks and Hop Hog here on LISN.
At Stony Brook Medicine, our gastroenterologists perform a groundbreaking procedure that restores the ability to eat, so Kevin can enjoy dining out again. Our kidney transplant team has one of the fastest transplant rates in the nation, so Pat can spend time doing what she loves. Our skilled surgeons perform robotic-assisted surgery for colon cancer, so Chris can get back to reeling them in sooner. Leading the way to make your life stronger. We are Stony Brook Medicine. All we do is all for you.
And we welcome you back, ladies and gentlemen. Third period just moments away, and we are set for action once again. And all we can say is buckle up, hold on tight, because this is going to be a wild ride to the very end. Oswego State leading 4-3, and at one point they're up 4-2 after all hell broke loose. Before Stony Brook, after a Vantamicin call against Oswego State, capitalized moments later with their very own non-icing, with Paul Tizarro beating his man to the punch and finishing upstairs.
That's what they say. You gotta play until the whistle, folks. All these situations here, the icings, whether it was a call or a no call, it comes down to who's closer to that puck when the referee decides to make that whistle call. And if there's a situation where the offensive player is going to be close to that puck, they're not going to blow the whistle. I mean, realistically speaking, they're supposed to be making these calls at the hash marks, but the game moves so fast. By the time that the referees decided that to make that call, the players are already 6 feet ahead. So sometimes those are decisions that are, if you're at that dot and you don't hear a whistle, you got to assume that puck is going to be live.
In more ways than one, it's a game of inches.
Most certainly.
Manzi, who scored one of the 2 goals by Oswego State last period, set, and this third is underway. And it begins with the Seawolves targeting the zone! Missing wide on his second attempt to score a goal tonight, Mara. As Manzi tries to send Derrito ahead, but instead it's cleared out of the zone and back into the hands of Valenti. Trezera having trouble executing the other way as Derrito, who was advancing ahead, but not before the whistle was blown.
Offside's the call there. We'll face it off just outside the Seawolves zone.
Lorenzo Mara has had himself quite the evening so far, and only game 1 for him, and he's already made just a few enemies, one could say. With both him scoring and then the hit that set off everything with how this game has transpired. With the intensity at an all-time high as Labos throws it on goal. It's stopped there by DiFiore.
A massive rebound there, and no Seawolf in sight.
And Stepney fans on the clear, and it allows King to almost set up his man in the bumper. That was Salins as Labos takes over the other way. Peter Labos crisscrossing, the shot pushed aside by DiFiore as Labos heads off to the bench. Back on the ice comes Anastasio, and right at the perfect time, because he has the possession on his stick.
Oswego's going to go here for a penalty here. Stony Brook's going to get the extra skater out.
This will be their second trip to the power play tonight once Oswego State touches the puck. And we'll wait and see who is being sent to the penalty box for interference. It is going to be no other than the alternate captain, Ryan Salins. And he is disagreeing with that ruling, but it will not change anything for his team. So back to the power play goes Stony Brook, and it's been a long time since I've said this. Stony Brook Orthopedic Associates power play has just begun. And it begins with some activity right off the draw there. One player lost the stick. Now it's back in the hands of the rightful owner. Meanwhile, Cormatic controlling the zone. DeZaro, one-timer! Wenrick over the net it went.
Didn't exactly get it all on there, but it was a good look.
Wenrick shifting over. Meanwhile, Nakagawa plays catch down low with the newly minted captain Cormatic. DeZaro. Quick fire wagon movements here around the perimeter as Stony Brook tries to tie the game up. They have been in the lead twice tonight on the opening goal and then the goal by Mara that put them up 2-1 before everything just unraveled, where they let up 3 consecutive goals. Now with a 1-goal game in their sights, they're looking to tie things up and get them right back on the right track here. And that will not do. Wenrick will chase back for it.
Miscue there for the Seawolves. Oswego's going to get a full change on their defenders. And Stoney's going to have one more shot at this to go up the ice.
Wenrick can't connect cleanly with his intended target. That was DeZaro, but luckily able to control it. DeZaro sent to the ice.
And that's going to be another penalty here.
And whether or not they touch the puck before this period penalty expires, this could be a 5-on-3. However, it appears that
we're
Stony
taking a 6-on-4.
Or maybe, yes.
Well, that's what they're taking right now. Is
absolutely. I had to glance up, and I noticed the empty awning in sight. And now it's going to be 6-on-5. There is Vernillo. DeZaro, long stretch feed, found the stick of Labos. And that chance hit the outside of the netting before it gets touched up. And the penalty called for tripping. And it's the captain, or at least the co-captain, Jeremy Keys, who will sit for 2 minutes. And another opportunity is presented to Stony Brook to tie things up once again. 0-for-2 on power plays tonight. Perhaps lucky number 3 will be the difference maker. We'll just have to see. And this one is brought to you by Stony Brook Orthopedic Associates. As the Seawolves attempt to level the playing field once again. Vernillo backpedaling. Poirier curling before setting it up. One-timer fanned on by Hyde. He slammed his stick in frustration before the puck is soared out of play into the Oswego State bench. That is, from my account, that is 3 times the puck has landed in Oswego State's bench. It's a useless fact, but that's just one thing
I told you that bench is a puck magnet.
30 seconds gone by on this latest power play for Stony Brook. And we got the team communicating on the ice. It's DeZaro waving on Stepney to come back and take his position at the right points where he stands. DeZaro, Cormatic, down to Stepney, looking to pull the trigger here. Instead, he's going to dish it down low. Nakagawa handling it off the boards. Or at least I thought he would, as this gets cleared away. Now down to 1:15 of power play time.
Stony Brook not really finding much in terms of solid opportunities here on this man advantage. A lot of good puck movement, but they got to start getting things to the net.
Poirier sauced that one in, as Jubron is able to make the clear. And potentially Manzi may win this race against Poirier, but that does not happen as we've reached the final 50 seconds of the power play.
One downside of the extended man advantage and power play is those power play units are going to be gassed by the end of this.
Certainly. One man that is not gassed by any means is Lorenzo Mara, who is just wrecking havoc all over the ice with his heavy presence felt. But another clear made by Oswego State. And there are now 20 seconds to go on this latest man advantage for Stony Brook. Hyde, long stretch feed, Anastasio, Poirier, back to Hyde. Hyde at the top, fires, blocked. One of the things you alluded to during the intermission break, one thing you didn't see that much, well, you just saw it right then and there, a big block made. Oh, a heavy check thrown in the corner. Stony Brook, off the heels of their latest miss power play attempt, they are looking to exact some revenge on the physical department. They go 0 for 3 this evening.
Stony Brook just has to get the offensive engine going again here. They're trying to, honestly, it almost seems like they're trying to overcomplicate things.
And Stephanie nearly overcomplicating things behind the goals. The puck got caught in the netting for a bit. Now the Stephanie's gonna take over once again. Instead, he's gonna lay it back to that man Haskins, and Haskins is gonna look to skate it up forward. Room to push up ahead. Vernillo in the trailer, missing, rebound. They took a carom there, almost out back in front. And now Anastasio is gonna try to control it. And now things ramp up quickly. Anastasio with that screaming drive, missing wide.
They called his shot there, top corner, didn't connect.
Trezera playing it off the boards. Joey Trezera finds the late man, Legret, firing from a tough angle, missing wide. Valenti, third try, missing, but that time, DiFiore got all of it. Anastasio belted in the glass. Meanwhile, DiNapoli got bowled into DiFiore by Sazelka. So there shouldn't be any reason for the Lakers to jump on Stony Brook.
I think we're just going to try to untangle this one as safely as possible.
Absolutely.
Looks like not getting into any fisticuffs here.
Like, that is one thing I'll never understand, even at all levels of play. If a player hitting another player into their own goalie, and the first thing they do is just jump
get mad at them.
Immediately get mad at them.
Why did you land on my goaltender?
I'll never understand it.
Former hockey player, I'm guilty of definitely sending a few forwards and centermen and wingers over my goaltender. To those goaltenders, I apologize, but I swear it wasn't my fault.
Off the draw, and it's played back to the point. Valenti. Here's Cooper Smith. Quiet evening for him on the offense. As Trezera floats it on, missing wide. Cooper Smith. Back to Valenti. Valenti throwing it through traffic. Pad save, DiFiore. Heavy check thrown by Legret. He bounced off the body of King as Cooper Smith takes over once again. Drops it back to Trezera. Trezera couldn't float it forward. However, DiNapoli there in time at the right place to skate it forward before Oswego State restarts it from their ends. Or so I thought, as Legret has other plans in mind. Another line change commences for the Seawolves. Nolan Sullivan re-engaging with one goal already under his belt tonight. And he takes out 2 Seawolves in the process there. Sullivan looking to charge up again. They left another man out in sight. And Reganado made 2 saves there. Sullivan once again making his presence felt as Renzoni now has his hands full with Vernillo. Meanwhile, Wenrick and Haskins now in their second year with the Seawolves. Vernillo sliding it back over to Haskins. Haskins looking for an option, observing the situation. Connects with Cormatic. Cormatic keeping it under his control. There's a man in the trailer, Vernillo. Wenrick not there in time to keep it in the zone, and we get a whistle blown.
Hand pass. Bench of the fans here from Oswego not happy with the call, but
And every corner, every time I look, it's Oswego State, the bench of Oswego State, literally on a top rope going after the refs right now tonight.
it's the one jersey you don't want to be wearing tonight. We sometimes give these guys a hard time, but you know they are doing their best out there.
Absolutely.
This is
it's a thankless job.
It's a fast game out there.
Absolutely.
And we get to sit from a very wide angle.
And Derrito with the steal there as he closed the angle that time. Watch out, Cormatic couldn't press forward there. Good pressure administered by Oswego State, and it leads to Derrito and Palfy once again connecting. Palfy, Derrito. We close in on the final 10 minutes of this hockey game. Big check thrown, and it knocks the netting off its moorings.
Going to go for interference on that one.
Drawing the call there for Oswego State was Manzi, and the Lakers with another power play opportunity in sight. And the beneficiary for them is that man right there taking his place in the penalty box, Joey Trezera of Stony Brook.
Oswego's been deadly on the power play tonight. We'll see if they can extend their lead again to 2.
2 for 3 so far. Scored once on the major penalty that was against Stony Brook back in the second period before scoring just minutes later on another power play. Trying to make it 3 for 5 here tonight. Or sorry, no, 3 for 4. Got my math all twisted up. Chance missing there. And Stony Brook with good coverage as Jubron setting it back in motion. Jubron dangling to the goal, missing rebound, and ringing off the post. And out. And more tangling between players as Smith went for a ride over on top of Derrito. Nakagawa. At the top of the broadcast, I mentioned the last time these two teams played, Nakagawa scored a hat trick. That, I firmly believe, is not going to happen tonight with the way this game has gone.
Nakagawa had an opportunity in the second period where he was forced away from the net, unfortunately.
Certainly, he's gotten his chances, but this Oswego State team has just been filled with heavy muscle all around the ice. And again, another check thrown, that time King on Poirier. And now you see Cormatic getting entangled with Jubron once again. 40 seconds to go on the power play. The 5th of the night for the Lakers. Oh, and that had Haskins descended to the ice, that would have been a penalty against Oswego State. I know for a doubt. I know for,
Reading the minds of the Stripes. One of the hardest things we attempt to do up here. But getting the puck out of the zone was definitely the better of the options.
I try to steer clear from that department.
We call it as we see it, folks.
Absolutely. Here's King as he is being alerted by the rest of his line mates that the power play is expired, and so Oswego State's 2 for 4 tonight on power plays. Yeah. Centering feed in front. That one got blocked. Under 8 to go here in regulation. Hudson D. Napoli storming ahead, but it ran into a wall that time as Oswego State continues to press down on these Seawolves. Wenrick lofting this one back the other way and almost went right into the bench once again. As Renzoni looks to pedal forward. Instead, he's going to send it in deep. No icing here. Nestepny deciding not to play it off the boards. Instead, went for the coverage, and that allowed Oswego State to keep the pressure in the zone. Now Nestepny has some speed, and he's got Nakagawa with them. Nestepny up ahead! And play is stopped as Nakagawa is dragged to the ice. And more extracurriculars after the goal. Now we have Hyde looking to mix it up with another Laker. And you see Anastasio rushing on over to keep Hyde out of the fray, as he knows how valuable he is to this Stony Brook lineup, especially with it being only a 1-goal game.
Well, it looks like we've got some penalties here, and it's going to go the way of Oswego here.
And it's Crawford taking a sit in the sin bin, and this is something we talked about back in the first period after Stony Brook took the first penalty of the night. You want to avoid you want to stay disciplined, because this is what's going to happen. One team's going to take advantage of that opportunity, perhaps, and all of a sudden things just going to unravel in your face. This is a perfect opportunity for Stony Brook right here, right now.
6. A little bit of a scramble change here for the Seals to get the power play unit out here. And go ahead and tee this one up.
This is the 4th Stony Brook Orthopedic Associates power play of the opening nights for the Seawolves. And this is a big one. Chance missing there in tight. But it couldn't be cleared out until now by the Lakers. Derrito with the clear, as Stony Brook with the miscue there near the top, negating the zone entry. Now Anastasio plays it back, and things will soon ramp up once again. Poirier and Hyde. A lot of new faces on the ice, and a save made by DiFiore that sends the puck into the mesh.
You can't really hate on the Oswego penalty kill today. They've been solid. They haven't let a lot of opportunities on the inside, and Stony Brook's been kind of forced to try to keep it on the outside or try to get creative and crafty, and that hasn't resulted in much success for them today.
Not at all. See how hard Stony Brook has been trying to dent the infrastructure of Oswego State's penalty kill, but to no avail, as they have already gone through about a minute here. It's going to be a minute of power play time without nothing happening. In front, kick save, DiFiore. Wenrick, things ramping up once again. DeZaro, quick fire wagon, touches all around, save, rebound, loose, in front, score! He did it again! And the Seawolves strike finally on the power play.
DeSaro hanging out there on the back door, waiting for that rebound to come, and it finally came.
A pair of goals for Paul DeZaro. That's back-to-back goals for the Seawolves, coming from number 91 himself.
Well, Nakagawa is probably not going to get his hat trick. I say probably, still time left.
But perhaps someone else may. Knock on wood. Hudson DiNapoli ready to take the draw here against the Selka, and just like that, we're even up once again. And boy, oh boy, perfect. Couldn't have been a perfect time. Oh! And he's getting awfully, awfully close out there. Crawford wafted in deep.
This could be a high stick here. It's not going to get called.
Nope. The whistle did not come out of the pocket as Cooper Smith and the Seawolves charge up again, save. DiFiore keeping his team in this one. Reganado focused and stoic behind the play in his net, as his team has kept him in this contest.
Stony Brook almost caught there on a too many men there, as that change is a little bit slower than they would have hoped.
Oh!
Inadvertent contact there in the neutral zone.
in front. Labos almost got connected there from the pass coming from Vernillo. Vernillo canceling that situation out and coming in at the right time, diving, trying to poke it forward was Mara, and he's going to allow Vernillo to get in the zone before Labos scoots one in. Mara not there in time to grab it. That one knocked down by a high stick, but no whistle. Meanwhile, Labos charging up once again. One goal tonight, missing wide there. Haskins couldn't kick it forward, and he has trouble there on the turnover. The official gets in the way of Manzi, who would have had a clean break the other way had the linesman not gone in the way. 4 minutes to go here in regulation. And this is going not to be touched up, as rushing back quickly with Sarver. And meanwhile, the Seawolves still pressing on against the Lakers. Nastepny floating this one in deep as it skitters off the boards. Anastasio rocks his man, but lost his stick. Or pardon me, that was Paul Tizarro. He is all over the place tonight, both on the score sheet and in front of these Lakers. Back it goes. Poirier, Tizarro looking to charge up. Who's gonna pull the trigger? It's Derrito who has it, and now Nolan Sullivan will trek back into familiar territory. Poirier trying to put a stop to him. Great coverage by him, rushing in to keep it in the zone. Jubran, as Cormanic will take over in the corner. 3 minutes to go in regulation as the clock continues to wind down. Sullivan. Watch out here, Nastepny galloping forward. Can't get by everyone as Hyde wheels it back the other way, or tried to at least. Now Nakagawa comes into the mix with a nudge forward and allowing Hyde to try to chase after it. But to no avail as Jubran races back the other way. Jubran dangling all the way to the goal. Reganado with it to stop. 2, 3, 4 stops. And another scrum after the whistle. And now some of these fans on the Stony Brook side are getting restless.
A lot of intensity here. You can see it on the faces of the folks in the crowd here as this game trickles down to the last few minutes here.
And we're going to get a timeout by Oswego State. And if there's one thing you should know about these games is that, at least from last year, there's no guarantee it's going to end in just regulation.
Yeah, listen, a regulation end is never a guarantee, especially when you got a tie game going down to the wire.
But the Seawolves have plenty of clutch artists in their arsenal that can certainly get the job done.
I mean, this one, this is as close as you can get, folks. Two teams out here fighting very hard, mostly keeping it between the whistles. Calls going both ways. I think this is a good timeout, though, for Oswego. This is where you'd want to take it. You're not going to use an OT. And you're going to want to have your best guys rested up here going into this last stretch. Maybe you try to draw something special up here.
Mara able to win it back. Nakagawa in a different position on the back end. Leads it forward, finding Hyde, streaking in, missing wide on the backhand try, and potentially we may have a penalty shot here. And no,
it's going to be a regular penalty.
Everyone got their hopes up, including me.
You're waiting for the ref to throw his arms up.
It was,
You're only going to get the penalty shot if the shot opportunity is prevented. but because he got a shot opportunity, that's why you're going to get the call, the standard penalty there.
I see.
Which is honestly the right call here, and for the Seawolves here, 2 minutes to go here, 2:06 to go in the third period.
But regardless, it not being a penalty shot for Stony Brook, this is an enormous opportunity because you don't have one of the best special penalty killers on the ice for Oswego State because he's sitting in the penalty box right now. That's Jubron.
If you're the Seawolves here, this is your game here.
There have been 4 power play opportunities tonight. Stony Brook finally got a hold of one, courtesy of Paul DeZaro. Could they get another one? As the 5th one will come into effect in just a few moments as we get a timeout called. However, this is going to be from Stony Brook.
I think this is mostly here because you had a little bit of confusion out there, I think. You want to make sure you have good alignment. And other than that, I mean, it's not going to be a tiredness perspective here because you just had the Oswego timeout not even 30 seconds ago. You had all the fanfare with the penalty. So at this point, you're just trying to draw something up here, and you see the coaching staff on their boards trying to get things written up here for the players and setting up the best laid plans, and it all starts with winning a face-off.
The message was clear from the beginning before the puck dropped this evening. They want to set an identity for themselves so other teams can follow along. They don't want to be, they're tired of being the ones chasing and adapting. They are looking to be ahead of the curve, and what better time to exemplify that statement than by striking on this power play opportunity. Hyde will wait once again, going up against Palfy. Back to the point, Wenrick. Wenrick dishes it over. Cormatic now at the top. Shifting positions with Wenrick. DeZaro. Wenrick. Cormatic. Slowly controlling. Now Nakagawa controls. This is the 5th Stony Brook Orthopedic Associates power play of the night. Cormatic in the bumper, couldn't pull the trigger. DeZaro floats it off the boards. Nakagawa rushing on over to keep it alive. A minute and a half remaining on the power play for Stony Brook. A minute and a half remaining in regulation. What is it going to take for a winner? In front! Couldn't be found, another chance. Cormatic missed it as he sent it wide on the curl and drag shot.
Stony Brook going shoot first mentality here on this power play here.
Long stretch speed, couldn't connect across to Cormatic. Final minute of power play time, and soon it will be the final minute of regulation. Another potentially missed call at the expense of Oswego State.
I think that's just good body, though.
Anastasio. Wenrick. DeZaro. In front, touched on by Hyde. Rebound, fanned on by Nakagawa. Wenrick rushes over, keeps it alive. An advantage here for the Seawolves. In front, Anastasio missed wide. Keys couldn't get the possession. Anastasio, DeZaro, dancing.
Oh.
Lost the handle of it, but Cormatic rushed in to keep it alive. Power play is about to expire, and so will the clock in this game as we head to a 4th period known as overtime.
Well, I think with that, we'll take a quick break here. When we come back, we'll have OT action here at the rinks in Hauppauge. You're watching Seawolves hockey on LISN.
At Stony Brook Medicine, our gastroenterologists perform a groundbreaking procedure that restores the ability to eat, so Kevin can enjoy dining out again. Our kidney transplant team has one of the fastest transplant rates in the nation, so Pat can spend time doing what she loves. Our skilled surgeons perform robotic-assisted surgery for colon cancer, so Chris can get back to reeling them in sooner. Leading the way to make your life stronger. We are Stony Brook Medicine. All we do is all for you.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Overtime hockey coming your way. And if there was a perfect time to play, jump around, it would be right now, because the energy is absolutely palpable. At least coming from me. I'm energized. This crowd, though, on the other hand, is very subdued for the time being. A lot of nervous energy being shown from their end.
We call it a lot of potential energy here, because when something happens to conclude this game, this crowd is going to erupt. For those of you unfamiliar with the overtime rules in the ACHA, we're going to play 3 aside for 5 minutes. Power plays will result in a 4-on-3. We'll stay that way until the next whistle after a penalty, should that happen. And if we have no conclusion at the end of the 5 minutes, we'll go to a best-of-3 shootout, followed by a sudden death shootout, should we need it. Well, the explainer's out of the way and the players on the ice. It's time for overtime.
Last season alone on home ice on the island, the Seawolves have been involved in 6 overtimes, with one of them going right down to the very last second and ending on the stick of Kyle Nastepny. Should that happen again, man, this place, as Trevor alluded to, is going to erupt. Right now we got 3-on-3 hockey, 4.5 to go! And guess again, another missed call. Paul Fee, save!
I'm beside myself.
Back the other way, Lorenzo Mera scores!
What an incredible end to opening night here. Oswego is beside themselves here. But the Seawolves are going to literally steal 2 here. The Oswego fans not having it tonight, and honestly, I don't blame them. But the Seawolves here triumphant in overtime. Regattato will chalk his first win of the year. Brett's going to go grab that game puck there, as that one's going to be one to remember, as the Seawolves will salute the fans. Blow the goal horn off one more time here to celebrate the win here. But any final thoughts here before we sign out?
I think that pretty much summarizes it. What a wild, chaotic evening. And to cap it all off, potentially the man that leads the future of this program going forward, the newest member of the Seawolves, Lorenzo Mera, capping off the night.
A clutch ending there for sure. It's taking advantage of the opportunities in front of you.
The Stony Brook Seawolves defeat the Oswego State Lakers on opening night 5-4. 3 consecutive victories by the Seawolves over the Lakers here on home ice, and we'll have the back end of it tomorrow afternoon. Trevor, I hope you're going to be there.
I'll be here.
Oh my gosh.
For the world, so.
I'm loving every minute of this. 4th season in the booth. It's been a wild and fun time. Looking forward to tomorrow night. Mike Calandra, Trevor Magnani saying so long. Good night. You have been watching Stony Brook Seawolves hockey on LI Sports Network.
At Stony Brook Medicine, our gastroenterologists perform a groundbreaking procedure that restores the ability to eat, so Kevin can enjoy dining out again. Our kidney transplant team has one of the fastest transplant rates in the nation, so Pat can spend time doing what she loves. Our skilled surgeons perform robotic-assisted surgery for colon cancer, so Chris can get back to reeling them in sooner. Leading the way to make your life stronger. We are Stony Brook Medicine. All we do is all for you.